Justin, I want to be able to see my reflection by the.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one 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 is above the law.
Oh, son of a bitch.
See, the good thing about a clip like the second one we saw, the first one's classic. Okay, and we're going to talk about Justin Trudeau. We're going to talk about Donald Trump. We're going to talk about Eric Adams in New York City. We got a lot of great clips for you tonight. We're going to be talking about a bunch of things. We're going to be going to England, so we're going all around the world. All right, we got clips to poke fun at all these people. The first clip's just hysterical. And the funny thing is that Justin Trudeau couldn't even shine Donald Trump's shoes. That's number one. Okay, even if Donald Trump were to hire him to shine his shoes, Justin Trudeau fails at that. But that second clip, I'll tell you one thing. See, memes are good. You want to know why? Because when they're lighthearted like that, because the first part of that clip is angering, because it's all the morally superior. And we have David Portnoy. We have a clip from him. It's a moral superiority of the left. No one is above the law. That a-hole from Tennessee, Cohen, where he goes, no one is above the law. And Nadler with that New York accent, no one is above the law. Like, it's just annoying. And then the vein starts popping out of my head, okay, while I'm watching the clips that you send me that we're going to discuss here at the front line with Joe and Joe, and then something funny. And the key in that clip was Travolta looking around like this going, what happened to no one is above the law? And we're going to talk about it a little bit more here at the front line with Joe and Joe. Thursday nights, 9 o'clock Eastern time is when we go live. Please, wherever you're watching our video, like, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff. We have a fun conversation with you tonight. Like I said, we got a lot of clips from you. Joe, how was your week? You actually have to sift through all of that to come up with some of this
madness, stuff. Lots of madness, but some good stuff to talk about. Good stuff. We got Hunter Biden. That's a joy. And then we have our friend Justin Trudeau, who basically calls Trump all these names, and then he goes to visit him. Along with Joe Scarborough, he does the same thing, calls him like every name in the book, and then he goes to visit him. I can't even believe that Trump
did that really happen?
I swear. Him and yes, they did. They went down to Florida to visit him as well. I don't even know how.
Who? Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski?
Absolutely.
Really?
I don't know how he actually sits in front of those people with a straight face. I don't know if I could. I'll be truthful with you.
Maybe he truly is a forgiving guy. Maybe he doesn't have any.
It just goes to show you, if you really believe someone was Hitler, would you go see them? I wouldn't. No matter what. I don't care that they won the presidency. It just goes to show you all they're looking for is an edge. That's it. What can I get out of this? How am I going to angle this? Because there's no other reason why you would. If you meant what you said, all those things that you say, and then you go and visit them, how am I going to get on? How am I going to, get an angle? How am I going to work this? How does Trump actually look at these people seriously? I couldn't. I guarantee he's probably just like, what?
See, here's the thing, Joe, and this is the way I think about it. When politicians, the way I've always looked at them, times, I always thought that probably the reason why they could pal around after the election is because they understand that it's politics. They call people and they call each other names and things like that. And listen, that's happened in all of human history. That's not just a modern American phenomenon. But here's the thing, as you said, but you called him Hitler. You didn't just argue about taxes. We're talking about you're favoring the rich. You called him Hitler. You kept calling him a convicted felon. Kept calling him a rapist. You kept calling him all these names. You got personal. So guess what? I'll give Trump a lot of credit because in Trump's mind, he's probably saying, well, that's what the left does. And maybe he has to be thinking that in his mind, because if I saw Joe Scarborough and Joe Scarborough said about me what he said about Donald Trump, let's put it like this. Let me be charitable. I don't think I would react like Donald Trump. I'm not saying what I would do.
I don't even think
what I
it's
would
about
do is host it.
reconciliation. I think it's more about, to be honest with you, they just want to continue to make their money and keep their position. And they're basically trying to still do that and make some type of peace. It's sad. It's just pathetic, actually, dude. It's nothing short of a clown show. I can't even believe what I saw in the last 4 years. I can't even believe it's real, but it is.
Listen, he made it through the election. He's still alive, even though Joe Stradamus said they were.
Yes, I said within the first calendar year. We'll see.
First calendar year. But they better watch. They better watch if let's say, for argument's sake, I mean, because look, we've said it before. MAGA, if you look at it as a movement, okay, transcends Donald Trump. Right now, he's the guy. He's the guy who represents MAGA. The next iteration of MAGA, the left doesn't know who that person is. They know who Trump is. They'd be smart to actually work with him, but they're not. So you know what he's going to do? He's going to take a wrecking ball. If you go, and I know you do, and all of our viewers out there at the front line with Joe and Joe on X, Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, please like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. Joe, look at the people he's putting in place. One of the people we're going to talk about tonight, who I get the most excited about, is Kash Patel. Okay? Kash Patel. That guy. See, now, when you look at a guy like that and you look at some of the other people that Trump is either putting in place or wants to put in place, okay, Trump's just going to take you don't want to work with me? Good. I'm going to take a wrecking ball to the whole thing then. And then I'll follow through with the American people, for the American people, what I said I would do. What I said I would do. And it looks like he wants to do it. It looks like you got a couple of rhinos standing in his way. And let's just hope for the best. But yeah, I mean, it really is pathetic. Joe Scarborough used to be, I'm not going to call him a hero, but he was a guy I listened to a lot back in the day. Joe, when you go back, let's say 15 years or so, Joe Scarborough was like, he was like a conservative guy, real vocal and everything, kind of like he is now. I think Mika Brzezinski just got in his head. I think it's
money. I think when you're paying someone $10 million, he probably makes ridiculous money. And Joe, that's my point. It's a soulless move. I think he'll say, again, my observation based upon that, because clearly he didn't mean it, because you're not going to go visit Hitler. It's just about the money. I make a ton of money and I want to keep making that money. How can I basically make this right so I can continue to make the money that I make? How anyone takes any of these people seriously, I don't know how. I don't know how. They lost every ounce of credibility, all of them, from the Democratic Party to all the pundits. I actually saw today Chuck Todd, an absolute and utter propagandist, a propagandist for the establishment, actually on a tape say that Joe Biden should never have run for the presidency because he did damage to the Democratic Party. Where were you the last 4 years, Chuck?
Right.
I mean, how anyone takes these people serious? I don't know how you could take them serious.
Well, one thing I would tell you is this: they've lost all credibility. They're about to lose all power. Joe, do you understand? And we got a lot to talk about tonight, but let's stay here for a second, okay? For all those joining us here at the front line with Joe and Joe, do you understand? We mentioned a couple of weeks ago about the transformative potential of this 4 years, particularly the first 2 years. Do you understand if the Republican Party and people like Thune and McConnell and the rhinos like Susan, the one from up in Maine, and Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, Republicans, if they follow through on Donald Trump's plans, and I'm talking about particularly the plans for working people. Joe, do you understand that if they just jump on board with a few things, how powerful it is to change the tax code so that the government raises money in a different way other than the personal income tax? Do you understand what the American people, rational American people, even rational Democrats are going to say, dude, you might not like the guy, but he just abolished the personal income tax. And that's just one thing. that he wants to do, abolishing the Department of Education and giving education back to local, state and local governments as you're supposed to, where parents have more of a say without the federal government in the way. And a lot of these things, you think people don't recognize the abuse? Like I said, we're going to be talking about Kash Patel, the abuse in the deep state, and they have examples of it from the FBI during Trump's first term. And Kash Patel is going to go in there and clean that up. Okay, when you think about just how transformative this could be, Joe, the Republicans just move a little bit, the rhinos I'm talking about, and go along with some of these things that we want them to, by the way. We voted for this, okay? Joe, the Democrats are going to have no power, let alone get invited to the country
on the same
club.
side as the Democrats.
What's
They're
that?
The rhinos are no different than the Democrats, and they'll never do it because they're basically indebted to the institution. They don't. I look at a person like John Thune like I look at Hillary Clinton. Same, it's a different suit. I look at Susan Collins, Murkowski. They're useless because they don't care what the people have to say. They care enough to get their vote, and then they listen to the donors. What the people have to do is exactly what they just did to Joe Biden. They got to smarten up. Donald Trump has to use his bully pulpit and get them to never get elected again. You have to get rid of them. You have to get rid of them just like you want to get rid of Hillary
Kamala
Clinton.
Harris.
You got to get rid of them, and you have to be vocal. And the good news is this, and this is why they want to censor. This is now on social media.
Yeah.
This is the good news, because ultimately the truth is going to be communicated to millions of people. And if John Thune, and we're going to talk about this, I hope Kash Patel gets the job. It's not a guarantee. They're giving the what's his face, the Secretary of Defense, Pete
Hegseth.
They're giving him the business. That's not a lock. And if they don't carry through, the American people, I don't care that they're Republican, because I'm not a Republican. I can't stand them. Get rid of them. Get rid of them.
The problem is this. It's going to take 2 years at least to get rid of Thune, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, and a lot of them. And they know that. And that's 2 years where they're thwarting Trump's agenda.
No, but that's where the next guy up. That was something Steve Bannon said. Next man up. That's where, whether it's J.D. Vance, whether it's Vivek, whether it's, what's his name? DeSantis. If that is the next man up, you have to get rid of them. You have to use your bully pulpit. If they do not stand for what the people want, I don't care that you're a Republican. It's a country of the people, by the people, and for the people. If you don't represent the voice of the people spoke, then get lost.
Right.
Get lost, and you have to get rid of them and put people in place who represent what people want, not what the institution wants. The institution is our enemy. It's a slave state that we live in. And that has to end.
The institution, especially like the globalists, the elitists, and everything else, the guy who they really love, is Justin Trudeau. And Joe, the more I see about Joe, by the way, when is the Canadian election? Do you know?
I'm not even sure. I know it's coming up. I mean, what's his face? We did that O'Leary clip. I mean, Justin Trudeau, basically, he's another one. Nothing more than a pawn of a larger agenda who destroyed the country that it'll take 2 decades to fix Canada.
Well, we'll come back and talk about that. Let's play something.
The question about the meeting, look, I just felt, while I'm a critic of Mr. Trudeau's, I did feel badly that he went in with such a position of weakness. Normally when a prime minister goes to the United States to meet a president, they're looking to make gains. What gains did we hear from Mr. Trudeau? None. He's just trying to limit losses. Did he come back saying we're going to get an exemption to Buy America, like Harper achieved from Bush? No, Buy America is still in place. Did he say we're going to get an end to the softwood lumber tariffs, like Prime Minister Harper got from President Bush? No, Not only are they still in place, Biden just doubled them. All Justin Trudeau offers is minimizing losses. Now, this is the consequence of having a weak prime minister who's lost control of our borders, lost control of immigration, lost control of crime and drugs, and lost control of our economy. And Canadians are paying a dreadful price for everything that Justin Trudeau has broken. And we need a strong prime minister who has the brains and backbone to put Canada first and to fight for our workers.
And tonight we're getting some new details about that Trump-Trudeau dinner from two people who were at the table. We are told that when Trudeau...
The question...
Joe,
Yep,
we back?
We're good.
All right.
Joe, I don't see it.
Everybody stay with us. We're having a little connection issue. We're right back, right in the game. We'll be back.
And tonight we're getting some new details about that Trump-Trudeau dinner from two people who were at the table. We are told that when Trudeau told President-elect Trump that new tariffs would kill the Canadian economy, Trump...
All right, we're back.
And tonight we're getting some new details about that Trump-Trudeau dinner from two people who were at the table. We are told that when Trudeau told President-elect Trump that new tariffs would kill the Canadian economy, Trump joked to him that if Canada can't survive without ripping off the U.S. to the tune of $100 billion a year, then maybe Canada should become the 51st state and Trudeau could become...
That's what I love about Trump. Is like he'll joke like that, but you want to know what? If he can make Canada the 51st state, he'd do it in a second.
Well, that's
right?
not
like,
happening. I mean,
no, I'm not saying it is. But Joe, here's the thing, though. But like, and by the way, this is something I did see on social media, and the left is all in a tizzy, and they're all like their brains are falling out because the guy made a joke. Bill Clinton was credibly accused of rape, and he was able to get away with everything. Donald Trump's joking with Justin Trudeau, and everybody's getting all bent out of shape over it. The fact is, Justin, like Polly said, Justin Trudeau is an abject failure. Okay, and you want to talk about something deliberate? It's deliberate failure because Trudeau, as you mentioned, is a puppet of Klaus Schwab and the oligarchs and the WEF and the New World Order. Everybody knows that. Look, nobody's going to convince me. Our election was too big to rig. 5 million people more voted for Donald Trump. Okay, they could not rig that. They could manufacture all the ballots that they want. It was too big to rig. Canada might not be that big to rig. Justin Trudeau would not get elected dog catcher by the people of Canada if they had fair elections up there. I am not convinced they have fair elections. First of all, I'm not convinced anywhere in the world there's fair elections. I think sometimes the left gets caught off guard or they might not fight as hard like they did in 2020 here. But at the end of the day, I don't think ordinary French people are voting for Macron. I don't think ordinary people are voting for Keir Starmer. Okay, I don't think ordinary people are voting for some of these oligarchs, and I don't think ordinary Canadians voted for Justin Trudeau. And why? Because number one, he's a puppet, and number two, even if he wasn't a puppet, he's weak. Just like Polyev said, he is weak. He's not getting anything out of it. That's why we played that first clip. He's shining Donald Trump's shoes. He can't even do that. Joe, I need your help.
Ultimately, the reason why these people have power is because of the press. They control the press. And the people are not informed. That is why Justin Trudeau is the prime minister, and he did significant damage to Canada, just as Joe Biden did damage, just as George Bush did damage, just as Barack Obama did damage, just as Bill Clinton did damage, because the press is a filter. The advertising controls what the press says, both at Fox and at CNN. And when you control the press, you control the people. And that's why Justin Trudeau gets away with it. And that's the danger of the internet. That's why Justin Trudeau censored the internet. That's why Brazil censored the internet. That's why Macron arrested the gentleman who was the CEO of Telegraph. They understand that they have to control the people through the messaging. And what is the messaging? It comes through the press. It's a lie, the free press. And I'll tell you what, these next 4 years, particularly because Elon Musk is very close to Trump, is going to do a ton of damage to the institution that is America. People are going to be informed. People's eyes are going to open. They've already opened, many. And more people are going to be open. It's not misinformation. Frankly, it's information. It's information we haven't had for decades that has existed. This is nothing new. The more people who see what's going on, how you're getting robbed, how you're getting ripped off, how you're getting manipulated, these people, I'm telling you, Joe, a new day could begin, and it could begin with Donald Trump. He opened the kimono, and hopefully it stays open.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, like I said, I still, for the life of me, we're going to keep it moving here at the front line with Joe and Joe. We go live Thursday nights, 9:00 Eastern time, X Rumble, Facebook, YouTube. Yeah, people, look, this election showed that there's hope. Again, we didn't get everything we wanted, but it looks like this country could really get back on the right path. At least on the level of abortion, it is back in the States, and there's other fights that could be had. But outside of that, you know, there's some things that Donald Trump is going to do that will benefit us. Hey, listen, we'll talk about Kash Patel in a little bit. The bottom line is this: when you look at I lost my train of thought because I forgot where we were going next, Joe. Oh, Pierre Pavot. So let's talk about Joe Biden. Let me play this real quick.
Okay, I thought I was done with political rants, but I guess I got one more. This Hunter Biden thing, it's in the news. Everyone's talking about it. Joe Biden, and the Democrats, after probably saying no less than 9,482 times unequivocally that Joe Biden would not pardon Hunter Biden if Trump was elected.
The president would not pardon or commute the sentences for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
He'd have to go through the jury system. Nobody's above the law, blah, blah, blah. What's he do? Of course he pardons them. Of course he does. Not only that, it's like for 11 years. So anything he could have possibly done in the history of time, he is pardoned for. Now, I'll start by saying if I could do that for a loved one, a family member, I would probably do the same thing. I wouldn't lie about it. I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to protect my own. No shit. If Trump gets elected and they're going to make Hunter Biden go to court and investigate him, all this, yeah, I'm going to protect him. But the Democrats, Biden, they didn't do that. They're like, no, what are we, crazy? Now, this is the point of this rant. And I've been saying it over and over and over. And why the Democrats got slaughtered in the election. Because they think they're morally superior to everybody else. So any Democrat, and lots of them, whenever you say this, it's like, what a fucking liar Biden the Democrats are. Can you believe it? They always, yeah, Trump, Trump, Your brain is broken. Your brain is broken. You don't get it. Because here's the thing. What the Democrats have done for, 12 years, have taken this moral high ground that we're the righteous party, the truth, honesty, integrity, and Trump is a threat to democracy. He's Hitler and he's a Nazi and this and that. And then the Democrats, whether it's the primary or this, time and again, they're worse than anything Trump's ever done. So if you're like, it's not that. It's the lecturing. It's the.
So we get the point. Okay, I'm going to say full disclosure. I'm not a big fan of Dave Portnoy. I don't like some things he says. I just don't like him. But we played him because what he said there was absolutely spot on. Okay, spot on. I'm tired of the moralizing from left. I actually was having this conversation with somebody the other day. I'm tired of the moralizing. I really, in my heart, and I know it's not going to happen. Well, here, let me say this first. We don't know who Biden's going to pardon between now and the time he's done. Okay. Because if they have an inkling that Trump is going to do anything, let's say, not as gracious as he treated Joe Scarborough, let's say. Okay. But here's the thing. If Biden goes down this route, if he starts pardoning people, okay, whoever Trump should go after, Trump should actually not be so gracious to these people. He should go after all of them. He should, I don't know if Joe Biden is going to pardon himself, but if he doesn't pardon himself, Trump should go after him. Trump needs to make a statement. See, I guess this is where my train of thought is. I'm sorry I'm a little muddled right now for those of you joining us at the front line with Joe and Joe. Here's my larger point. I'm tired of seeing the left, the globalists, the WEF types, the oligarchs, and everybody get away with what they're getting away with because the right is always has to be gracious. We're going to be forgiving. No, kick them in the face. Kick them in the face. Donald Trump, if you were in solitary confinement from now until the day you died, they'd be popping champagne corks saying, we got him. Go kick them in the face legally. Go after them. You have the guns. You have the ammo, figuratively speaking. I'm talking about the power of the government. You have the evidence. Go after whoever Biden does, starting, because Antonella mentioned it in the chat room, starting with Dr. Fauci. How's that to make a statement that we're not going to take any shit anymore? Joe, I got to throw it over to you.
2 points on Portnoy's rant. First, it's an 11-year pardon. Obviously, he wants to protect his son. But that pardon has a lot to do with himself. Because Hunter Biden was the mechanism whereby money was sent through him to Joe Biden. Case in point, in some of the back and forth in the testimony with Hunter Biden, they said the big guy. Who do you think that is? That's Joe Biden. How do you think Joe Biden owns 2 mansions, one in Rehoboth Beach and one in Wilmington, Delaware? And they are mansions because I protested in front of his house in Wilmington with Joe Pizzillo. It's a mansion. He never had a job. The man has worked for the government his entire life. He owns 2 mansions. Where do you think he got that money, and why is it an 11-year window? He's, in a sense, pardoning himself by that pardon. That's point 1. Point 2, the Democrats have no credibility, and nor does the press. Zero. What little credibility that they have none now. Zero. How anyone could take them serious. And Portnoy's right. Trump. I don't want to hear it. Take a look in the mirror. No credibility. It will take a long time for them to build that back up. And frankly, they have to dump this ridiculous agenda that has destroyed the Democratic Party. I don't agree with a lot of its tenets, but I'm not a purist in the sense, politically speaking. There are things that we could agree on in the Democratic Party. Union labor, I'm for unions. I'm for many things that the Democrats have on the job. I'm not for abortion. I'm not for same-sex marriage, but we could talk about a lot of things and we can agree on things. What I'm not for is radical leftism. And that is exactly what the Democratic Party has embraced. And who's speaking out about it in a furious fashion is what's his face? The Cajun dude. What the hell is his name? Who was
Carville.
Carville is going off on the Democratic Party. He's been saying this for I don't know how long, how the South Side of Chicago is not reconciling with the University of Chicago. They lost their way. The Democrats have to dump this. They have to get, and again, I'm not voting for you. They have to get back to the Clinton idea. If you don't, you're going to lose. The internet is going to blow your bubble up again because people hear the truth and they're not going to vote for you.
But Joe, the problem is, all right, and I got to say, Joe, we're very honored because Barbara is here. Okay, friend of the show, Barbara from the beginning. Okay, because
Yes.
everybody knows that Barbara's a Packers fan. Okay, and there it is right there. Packers, I guess, are losing 10-0. I don't know. I'm not watching the score, Barbara. I'm assuming because you put the 0 in the 10. She's like, and she's scrolling. She's got the game on mute while she's listening to the front line with Joe and Joe. And you should too. Here's the problem. I forgot which representative or senator it is. I think it was a member of the House, Democrat. Was recently on CNN or MSNBC, and very well known. I just forgot, his name escapes me at the moment. And he said, my party does not allow us to dissent. They shut us down. When we want to talk about boys can't go in the girls' room, they shut us down. And you know what they mean by shut down, Joe. If you're in the House, they don't give you committee spots. They don't give you any say so in the party machine politics of the Democrats. They basically ostracize you. And that's what he said. Well, good. You could listen. They ostracized themselves into 5 million less people voting, and I think it's more than that. 5 million people less people voting for Kamala Harris than voted for Donald Trump. Let them keep going. As far as I'm concerned, I really don't care. I will tell you this, though. Back to Republicans for a second. They better, Joe. They better get behind this guy.
What the deep state uses the most to cover up their corruption is an illegal application of the classification system. Remember the Lovebirds text from, this is a beauty, the Lovebirds text from FBI, DOJ land, Russiagate, Strzok and Page were texting each other. They were running the Russiagate investigation against Trump. They were the head of the counterintelligence unit at the FBI, and they're having an extramarital affair together. Can't make this stuff up. They're sending each other texts about how much they hate Trump and are going to create an insurance policy to stop Trump. Then we finally find those text messages. You know what the FBI and DOJ do for like a year? Redact them to congressional investigators and congressional men and women running the oversight of their agency. That's just one example. But it gets even better. Here's the deep state full circle. Just last week, do you know what Strzok and Page received from the Department of Justice?
What?
A $1.5 million payout to settle a lawsuit that Strzok and Page brought for the improper disclosure of their personal text messages on FBI phones. And the DOJ just rewarded them. They broke the law. They broke the chain of command. They broke every regulation there is in the FBI. They weaponized the system of justice against a political target they hated. We found those text messages, and we got them declassified finally in full when I became deputy.
But what do you say to the senators on Capitol Hill that are already quietly vowing to put up roadblocks to the president's choice to be FBI Director Kash Patel? What do you say to them given the outcome of this election?
So, one, I think you do owe the president a great deal of deference on his picks. Kash Patel understands the problems with the FBI, and he is a reformer that will not be captured by the bureaucrats. Contrast that to our current FBI director, Christopher Wray. We remember when he got appointed back in 2017, he immediately became a company man and was captured by that institution. He has not reformed it in any way, shape, or form. And so I actually think Kash has a lot of very significant experience that's important here. But put that aside, you can be the smartest guy in the world, you can have all this experience. If you don't understand that the institution needs to be reformed, if you get captured, then you're done. You're not going to be effective. And so I think Donald Trump in this pick and others, he's making sure he's getting people who have the proper posture to these institutions. These are not the revered institutions that they may have been 30 years ago. These are very problematic institutions. Kash understands that. I think a lot of Republican senators understand that, but apparently
Republicans better get behind them. And I'm going to go one step further, Joe. I don't know the numbers. I don't keep statistics. I don't do a survey of FBI agents. But I'll tell you one thing. This guy strikes me as a guy who will get along very well with the rank and file FBI agents. He's plain speaking, says it the way as you saw him on the Sean Ryan show, right? He's very plain speaking, says it the way it is. He talks like us. He doesn't talk like Christopher Wray. He doesn't talk like Comey. He doesn't look like he's a guy who's going to go and talk down to people. He looks like he's going to be a guy. He's going to be a good director of the FBI. He's going to understand the people who are on the ground, in the streets, enforcing American laws without abusing their power, like the rest of the deep state that's entrenched in the FBI. I like that guy a lot. And if they try to say he's not qualified, that guy was deputy director of national intelligence. If they try to pull that crap, okay, I don't think they're going to get away with it. If they try to talk about he's not qualified, they're not going to get away with it. What he is a guy, see, now he's going to go in to the FBI and he's going to really reform it. He's going to make those people that are been feeding off the trough for decades at the FBI and amassing power to themselves, he's going to make them quit. He's going to force them out the door. He's going to force them to have to go out and go get another job. I really believe that.
Well, I'll be honest. I think it was a good pick. I hope he gets the job. From what I have been seeing on social media, it looks like he is. I think the guy that's in trouble right now is the Secretary of Defense. And another point I want to make is I love the fact that Fox News had that conversation, because basically they're pointing out the problem of the institution, which is the enemy of the American people. It's the institution no longer works for the people. And that was on Fox News. That was not on some social media site, some talk show. That's mainstream. And that is accredited to Donald Trump. Donald Trump has brought this front and center to the people. And 4 years ago, that conversation would never have been had. Yet the same behavior was going on 4 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. We have to get the country back. We have to get the country back. This is not the country that the founders wanted. It was a country when it was founded of people. It's no longer that country. We live in an oligarchy. We live in an oligarchy. Read about the 2010, Citizens United case. In it, it's as clear as day. It basically says that wounded democracy even further. It gave more power to big donors, dark money, super PACs. We no longer have a voice. We can vote. That doesn't mean they have to listen to us. And they're showing it by not giving deference to Trump and his nominees. That's telling you something.
I'm going to push back a little. I'm going to push back a little bit on the Citizens United case for this reason, is that I know the way you're saying it, Joe, and I understand your perspective, but the thing is, Citizens United, that'll also allow the right to raise a lot of money.
But I don't want any money like that. I don't.
No, I know, Joe, but we're also talking about groups we would either contribute to or at least agree with their mission. Let's say PACs, where you're raising small amounts of money from large groups of people. Let's say pro-life groups, things like that, where they can take that money and they could try to lobby for the things that they want. Now, I understand what you're saying. I'm not wholly disagreeing with you. I was kind of in favor of the Citizens United case. You want to know why? Because Obama was against it. I know that's kind of a knee-jerk reaction, but do you know where I'm going?
No, but I want no money in government. There's no reason for it. You vote. Power is wielded by the vote. I don't need, and frankly, why should we spend $1 billion on a campaign? What a waste of money. Oh,
she spent more than that. By the way,
no, but I know that's
more than that.
crazy. It should be basically you could make a donation. Every tax ID, whether you're a corporation or you or me, $100. Level the playing field, and that is it. It's nonsense. All it is smut and smear anyway. Why are we spending all this money? Wow, think about what we could have done with it as a nation. It's a waste. Take money out of politics, because then the power goes back to the people and it'll benefit us, because ultimately my vote is not as significant as Jamie Dimon's vote, who's the CEO of JP Morgan Chase. And that tells me that it's an oligarchy. I should have as much power as he does, because we both pay taxes. We both are citizens, but that's not the way it works. And and that has to change.
Well, hey, listen, There's a lot of people. You got to see something, Joe. There's a lot of people stepping up and really, you're starting to see what more out there. What you and I have been saying for a long time. The Democrat Party is not a monolithic party. It's just those in control are able to keep everybody else quiet. I told you, this was a while ago. One of the lady Congress people, I think from Virginia, they had a conference call. And Joe, it was F-bomb after F-bomb after F-bomb with other Democrats saying, don't you dare effing talk about defunding the police anymore. Don't you dare effing mention socialism anymore. See, she played the game. She almost lost her seat, and that's why she was so livid, because the party forces you to take these positions that you know are insane. Like the congressman I mentioned earlier, who basically said, I'm not going along with men in women's locker rooms or bathrooms. Okay. By the way, the transvestites, they did a sit-in in the bathroom at the Capitol. Okay, because Nancy Mace ripped the posters off the wall and did a video and got 10 million views. So they did a sit-in in I think it was the ladies' room at the Capitol. I hope they all. But that's not an insurrection, though. That's not an insurrection. But I'll tell you what. You see, Democrats will eat their own. They will
They're
eat
doing
their
it
own.
right now.
Well, watch this.
Those who are here committing crimes, robberies, shooting at police officers, raping innocent people, have been a harm to our country. I want to sit down and hear the plan on how we're going to address them. Those are the people I am talking about, and I would love to sit down with the Board of Czar and hear his thoughts on how we're going to address those who are harming our citizens.
You're open to that?
Open to
hearing what their plan is to deport some of these folks, and you think the city, in some circumstances, should cooperate with ICE.
Let me. You know what's interesting? And I was talking to the team the other day. I want you to all go back and Google Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Google what they said about those who commit crimes in our city and what they said in our country. They said those who commit crimes need to get out right away. That was their position. So this is not a new position, because in the state in the era of cancel culture, no one is afraid to be honest about the truth. Well, cancel me, because I'm going to protect the people.
And that's the bottom line. I'm going to protect the people of
I give him a lot of credit.
I do. He's already on their cancel hit list.
No, but I just give him a lot of credit. That, you see, look what they did to Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard was given the gold. She was given the key, and she gave it back. I give him credit for that.
Yeah.
Got to give credit where credit's due. And basically, that's what listen, I don't represent the party. I represent the people. You voted for me. If the party does not represent my people's interests, sorry. That should be the answer. I don't represent any party. I represent my people. And that guy, to be honest with you, I give him a ton of credit, and more people should do the same on both sides of the aisle.
Let me ask your opinion on something. I was talking to my libertarian friend, Angelo. Okay. What do you think about trying, at least? I don't know how it would work, how you'd go about it, but trying at least to form some parties out of these two parties, because that strikes me like what you're saying is that, look, not all Democrats agree with the radical left, yet the radical left controls the Democrat Party. But a Democrat politician running for House or Senate has got nowhere to go because there is no other party. There's only the Republicans, and they're not going to the Republicans unless you're a Joe Manchin and you basically vote like a Republican, or more independently. Maybe we need more of a coalition government. I don't know, because I don't know how well it's working out in Europe, but you got to get consensus on a lot of things when you have a coalition government, rather than dropping the hammer from the top like Nancy Pelosi or Barack Obama or Chuck Schumer, where it just trickles down and it trickles down on your head if you're a low-ranking Democrat. Maybe we need a coalition government.
I think if you had politicians who were there for the right reasons, you would not have to worry about that. And I'll give you a case in point, Thomas Massie. Thomas Massie has 70% approval rating in his state. He votes for the people. He has gone against his own party. He has gone against the Democrats. He is on the side of his people and the truth. Because ultimately, you have to have this mentality. I have a skill set. I am offering that skill set to my people and my country. If you don't like what I stand for, and I'm going to be perfectly transparent, don't vote for me. But if you do, vote for me and know I'll represent you. And if I don't win, I'll get another job. And that's not the politician that we have. We have the politician that says, I am going in. I am going to tell you what you want to hear. I am going to serve the interest of the institution. I am going to get wealthy as a result of my position. And that is what we see time and time again. We have the wrong type of guy, and you have to basically take away the incentive. Another thing they could do is if you become a politician, you cannot work in the field that your committee was involved in. You cannot be a lobbyist. You cannot trade on the stock exchange. You have to de-incentivize that. You basically have to say, we're looking for a certain type of person, and we're going to create the model whereby if you want to be a servant of the people, this is the job for you. But if not, there is no way you can enrich yourself because there's laws against it. And if you go against the laws, we put you in jail. And then you'll get a better breed. But they will never do that because that's voting against their own.
Well, some of them try. I mean, I got to give credit to. There is a clip from a few months ago with Josh Hawley going at it with some of the Senate Republicans.
He's good. I like Josh Hawley.
I like Josh Hawley. And he goes, I don't think anybody on this committee or anybody in the Senate, anybody in the House, I'm paraphrasing, I don't think anybody in government should be trading any stocks at all if they're an elected office.
100%.
None. And guess who gave him pushback? Mitt Romney.
Well, this is again that he's in. It's the Joe that's where people's eyes have to be open. That's the beauty of the internet. That has to be communicated to people. Get lost, Mitt. You're rich enough. Get lost.
Right.
And that is exactly like what we got to get a better breed of person. This is the best we got. They're like barnacles on a ship. They're parasites. From friggin' McCain to what's his face?
To Romney, to McConnell.
To friggin' McConnell, to what's his face? Graham. Get lost.
Right. There's not a nominee a Democrat ever put up that I think Lindsey Graham voted against. Never once. Never showed any spine. The Democrats, I'll give them credit. When they're told to be unified against the nominee, like Pete Hegseth, Kash Patel, I'll be shocked if they get one Democrat to vote for them. Maybe, I don't know who's taking Manchin's place or whatever, but I'd be shocked if one Democrat voted for them.
I agree with you there.
Republicans don't do that. The only time Lindsey Graham ever showed any stones is when he defended Brett Kavanaugh. When he said, when you see Sotomayor and Kagan, you tell them Lindsey said, Ola, because I voted for them. Remember that?
I do. That was good. I just liked it because it was funny. But he makes me nauseous.
No, he makes you nauseous because then at the other side, he'll that he wanted to talk to Elena Kagan having about nothing to do with the law. You should have been challenging her. You're supposed to be pro-life. You're supposed to be challenging pro-abortion position. He just thought they said, they had a little colloquy, and then she turned around and said, so what do you want to know what I did for Christmas? I went to a Chinese restaurant. Like what does that have to do with the judicial?
That's why you got to vote him out. Kagan is about to vote. They're going to lose, by the way, in that case. You mentioned that transgender case in Tennessee. It's going to go 6-3. Kagan, Sotomayor, and Brown are going to vote for it. I listened to some of the oral arguments. It's so bad. Right. It's an embarrassment. Right. Legally speaking, Alito and Clarence Thomas destroyed them. Right. I mean, listen, I invite you, listen to it on C-SPAN. Don't take my word for it. That's going to lose. And by the way, Roberts put this in now because it's convenient for it to lose. Why didn't you put it in 4 years ago? How many kids got hurt? It's a disgrace. The point is, those people have done damage. Kagan is going to vote for that.
Right.
Sotomayor is going to vote for that.
Right. And
They
Lindsey
should
Graham
be-
voted for them.
And this is my point. That is an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. And it's I can't even believe it's real.
Yeah.
But it is.
Well, you know what else is an embarrassment is when, again, you're talking about oligarchs and everything else. We're here at the front line with Joe and Joe. You go overseas, Joe, it really doesn't get any better.
Now, the Independent Office of National Statistics has conducted vital work on the state of immigration and found the previous government were running an open borders experiment. As the ONS sets out, nearly 1 million people came to Britain in the year ending June 2023. That is 4 times the migration levels compared with 2019. Time and again, the Conservative Party promised they would get the numbers down. Time and again, they failed. And now the chorus of excuses has begun. We heard that from the Leader of the Opposition yesterday. But what we didn't hear, what the British people are owed, is an explanation. Because a failure on this scale isn't just bad luck. It isn't a global trend or taking your eye off the ball. No, this is a different order of failure. This happened by design, not accident. Policies were reformed deliberately to liberalise immigration. Brexit was used for that purpose, to turn Britain into a one-nation experiment in open borders. Global Britain. Remember that slogan? That is what they meant. A policy with no support and which they then pretended wasn't happening. And now they want to wave it away with a simple, we got it wrong. Well, that's unforgivable. And mark my words, this government will turn the page. That begins in the economy, because you cannot separate this failure from their refusal to do the hard yards on skills, on welfare reform, on giving our young people.
I had to shut him off with a few seconds left because that guy, I can't stomach that guy.
Oh,
I don't even know. And again, he's one of the reasons why I just don't believe in elections anymore. I believe in this last one because I think there was too much of a groundswell. But if the Democrats could have gotten away with it this time around, they would have done it. I think they certainly do it overseas. When you look at the quality of leadership, you can't even compare. You can't be like any of these people who call themselves national leaders, or starting with ours, with Joe Biden, a guy who's got dementia, the little boy up in Canada, this guy over in England, Macron over in France, and so many of them. You look, Joe, and you go, the people didn't vote for this. I'm sorry. I don't believe.
Well, dude,
What's your
I'll be
take on
honest,
that clip, though?
They voted because the press basically, that was just a lie. He's a globalist.
Well, then let me say this. Let me say this and qualify, because I think you're right, and I keep forgetting to mention it. I think it's cheating, and it's also the lack of real and truthful analysis coming from the press, and many times just outright lies coming from them.
Well,
I think it's a combination.
That is
of
a
the two.
lie. He stands for the immigration. All globalists do. Why is every nation that has a globalist prime minister or president doing the same thing? And he's right. It is intentional, but he stands for that. Why are they doing it? Because they're trying to take away the voice of the people by bringing in a voting class that they can control through the dole. That is why we had an open border in America. We're bringing in a voting class primarily to turn 2 states, Texas and Arizona. If Texas turns, it's over. It's a one-party system. That was the plan. It just didn't work. And that is what's happening. And he mentions Brexit. The powerful people in the UK to this day, their eye twitches about Brexit. That should never have happened, just like the Trump election should never have happened in 2016. And because of that, And because of the internet and because of the messaging coming from the internet, the answer was this: we're going to bring in people. We're going to control them because they're going to be on the dole, which means they will vote for us no matter what we do. And we will take the country away from the people who pay taxes and who basically have been there for generations.
Yeah.
That's what all the globalists are doing. It is a strategic plan. That part is true, but he's for it. And they're all doing it. And they're doing it in plain sight. And frankly, the press is covering for them because ultimately they benefit too, because they're part of the institution as well.
Yeah.
There it is, people. There it is. And
there it is. That's Joe Resinello's rant, and he's sticking to it. We're going to bring it to an end on that note. It's been a wonderful hour. Stick around. We got a clip to send you out with General Douglas Macgregor, making a lot of sense. We always try to leave off with a clip of someone out there who we should, be listening to. Hey, maybe like Joe and Joe. We know that you guys out there always support us. Many of you in the chat room, we love you to death. Antonella and the whole gang. Mary was here. You're so loyal. Thursday nights, 9:00 Eastern time. We're going live on Rumble X, Facebook, and YouTube. So help us out, like, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff. Stick around for a short clip from Douglas Macgregor. And remember that our conversation is your conversation, and that conversation is going on everywhere. We'll talk to you guys next week.
1. Crime. The fundamental purpose of government is to provide for the safety of its citizens. Are we safe today in your community? We need an accurate and accountable picture of the criminality in every town. If elected officials are tolerating criminality, the people need to know about it. If your elected officials are doing a good job of suppressing criminality, they need to be praised, identified as examples that can be shared with others. 2. Economic health and well-being. We need information on the state of the economy where you live. How are prices, inflation, and taxes affecting your town? What job prospects are out there for the future? How are local businesses faring versus national corporations that extract money from your area? 3. Illegal immigration and open borders. We need a true picture of how many non-citizens live in your area, where they are, if they're being registered to vote, and if they pose a threat to our way of life. Is there human trafficking going on? We know that thousands of children are missing. Where are they? We want to know the truth. 4. Public health. We need to know if our water is safe, our air is clean, our food is edible, and our people are healthy. Are our farms owned locally or by foreign countries? 5. Education. How are your schools? Are schools indoctrinating your children with Marxist and gender ideology? Are they providing a quality of education that is sufficient to ensure a successful future for our children? We are paying for education. It must be accountable to us, and it must create positive results. If we are not getting good results, then we must change the way we educate our children. 6. The cost of war. Our citizens must understand the cost of wars in our communities. We need to remember the fallen and honor our veterans. We all know a friend or family member who is being affected by war, and people need to know their stories. These topics will focus our efforts inside our own communities. Once again, we need dedicated patriots to begin doing the work to bring these crucial issues to the forefront in each and every town. We need your help. By joining our movement in Republic, you will become a hero to your community and to this nation at large. An information warrior in the tradition of Adams, Franklin, Jefferson, Hamilton, Paine, and Madison. As you work to gather and post this crucial information, we will work on our end to showcase your work. We will create a weekly show that will highlight your posts to a national audience. This is only the beginning, and Our Country, Our Choice will provide information, guidance, and resources to help you along the way. To sign up for a discounted account on Republic, go to republic.us/